Do you want to bring in more viewers to your live streams? On this episode, I'm going to sit down with Eddie Garrison and we're going to talk about how to promote your live streams before, during, and after so that you can get the word out about your live video and bring in more viewers to your broadcast. So, my name is Christian Karasiewicz, and I'm the host of the Launch Your Live podcast. And I'm excited to have Eddie join us. Eddie is a digital media creator. He's worked a lot in graphic design and social media. And so obviously, I mean, when you talk about social media, talk about live streaming. Live streaming, in order to get the word out, you do need to focus on your social channels. There's other areas as well, but we're going to talk with Eddie about this topic because one of the questions that we often hear about is people want to know, how do I get more people to tune in? And, they're looking at numbers and they're like, you know what, I got 0 people tuning in, or I've got 5 people, or, 2 people. And oftentimes that's, yourself and like your family, and that can be very discouraging if you don't have a lot of people tuning in. So we're going to talk about some ways to promote your live streams, but I'm going to go and bring on Eddie and we're going to kick things off. We got some great questions for him. So Eddie, thanks a lot for joining us.
Hey, Christian, always a pleasure, man. Good to see you.
You too. So, I alluded to the fact that we're going to talk about promoting your live streams, before, during, and after so that you can increase your reach. But before we start talking about this topic, I want you to tell people, who is Eddie Garrison, and what do you do?
Well, I'm 44 years old, Florida born. No, so I am a digital media marketer, social media manager, and digital media educator. I own 2 companies currently. One is a digital media production and social media management company called Clover Media, where we do social media management, video production, and live stream virtual producing. I also have a website called the Digital Media Creator Academy, where I help people like myself who may be just getting started, or small to medium-sized businesses that want to take over their own social media. So it's a membership-based website where they can go in, pay a monthly fee, see different courses, get different templates, guidelines, ebooks, resources, tools, basically everything you need to know and do to do what I do. So if that's something that they're looking for, they can do that as well. So that is basically me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. So when we always ask our guests this, when did you first get into live streaming? And the reason we ask this is because, a lot of times there's always some sort of pattern here. For example, on episode 67, which we just recorded with Kate Bradley Chernus, we talk with her, and she's a co-founder of a tool called Lately. We talk with her, and she was a former radio DJ. We've talked with our good friend Kevin Colby. He was also a radio DJ, and hey, for them, it was all about turning on that camera. That's literally all they needed to do. What about you, though? When did you get into live streaming?
I actually started live streaming in around 2006, 2007. Before it was even called live streaming. There was a particular company out there called GoToMeeting, which is still in existence today. They had the ability, it was kind of like a webinar, but then in 2007, they added the video component to it. So I got one of those, I don't know if you remember, like the little ball webcams that used to sit on top of your monitor. Got one of those. And like you said, instead of it being on the phone and talking to people like that and trying to do webinars and show them particular softwares or equipment that the company that I was working for was selling them or training them how to use, I could turn on a webcam and they could visually see it. That took our company brand presence up to like the 9th heaven layer, right? So, I mean, everybody just gets so tired of listening to people ramble on speakerphones or reading emails. All of a sudden, they had a face to put with the company that they've heard on the phone for years and years and years. And it just took our business awareness to the next level. So right around 2006, the end of 2006, 2007 is actually when I started, quote unquote, live streaming.
Fantastic. Yeah. And, here's the thing. A lot of people, like the point that you mentioned, when you start live streaming, for example, like it does sometimes, it's a little uncomfortable. For some people, it's a natural progression because you can easily, make that transition. For other people, it does take time. I mean, here's the thing. The great thing about live streaming is it's not about when you get started with it. It doesn't matter if you've been in it for, as you mentioned, what is that? Well over 10 years there. I mean,
yeah, it's 15 now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it doesn't matter if you got started like, oh, I didn't start, until like 2 years ago, for example, for some people, it doesn't matter because
Nope.
2 years, 15 years, it really depends on, how you take it and run with it and get the most value out of it.
And there's a certain learning curve, to it, to everybody. A lot of people are able to
Mhm.
jump right in, and they sound and look really good on camera. A lot of people are very self-conscious about what they actually look like on camera. But to your point, Christian, I mean, you're never going to be able to get better if you just plainly just do. You have to get started. Just turn the camera on and go with it.
Exactly. And that's a point that we always try to mention. There's a lot of people that'll say, like, hey, just push the button, and go live. And that's sort of true, but you do have to have some of those, other characteristics. Like,
Mhm.
for example, if you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to stream to the public. You could
Right.
start by streaming to like a private Facebook group,
Mhm.
or for example, just stream to a private YouTube channel. For example, this show Launcher Live is powered by StreamYard, and that is a live streaming platform. So if anybody wants to check that out, all they have to do is go to the description of this YouTube video, or they can just go to launcher.live/go/StreamYard and check that out. So I know this episode is all about promoting your live streams, right, Eddie? So
Yes.
what does it mean to promote a live stream?
To me, I like to equate promoting your live stream to the TV channel guide or your live streaming guide, or whatever you're looking at, or an upcoming attractions. When you go to the theater and you're watching a movie and you see those upcoming attractions, that's all promotion. And you can extrapolate that out into your live streams. So if you're going to schedule your live streams, you're going to be consistently putting out your live streams. You need to be able to actively promote them to get the most viewers that you can get. Now, yeah, honestly, the majority of live streams are going to see more views after the fact. But without actively promoting that, you won't even get those because they won't even know that you're going live. So I like to look at promotion as just like a TV commercial or just like those upcoming cinema attractions. You need to put the word out to your audience so they can spread the word to their friends, their family, their coworkers, other small business owners, or whoever your niche industry is, so they know that you're going live on this day at this time and the topic is going to be this. So without planning ahead, scheduling your live streams and actively promoting it, chances are you're not going to be able to get the viewership and reach that your live stream actually needs to get.
Hold on. So can I just not schedule? Can I just not like go live? I mean,
You
um,
can.
like I know a lot of people they get hung up on like not getting viewers. Um, you know, if I want to like promote my live stream, so like I have to do all this extra work, right?
It's not that it's extra work, and yes, you can just go live the spur of the moment, and that's great.
Okay.
And a lot of times that really works because people are like, "Oh, look, Christian just went live. What's he talking about?" Because it's so kind of impromptu, right? So they're just kind
Yeah.
of scrolling through Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, like, "Oh, look who's live. I'm going to check it out," and that's great, and that can work sometimes. But if you have a plan in place and you know that you're going to be consistently going live every Monday at 7 p.m., you can start to actively promote that. And people start to tune in and go, oh, guess what? Christian is about to go live at 6:45. Let me finish up my dinner. Let me finish off this beer, whatever, and get home so I can, watch Christian's show because you've been actively promoting it. So it all ties back into that.
Definitely, yeah. And so, obviously, I mean, we sort of alluded to this, but like, why is it important to promote your live streams? Why is that such an important step?
It it's helping you strengthen your brand awareness. Because if you're not consistent with your content, they're not going to know what you're talking about. They're not going to, okay. So if you're not consistently going live on this day at this time and you're so sporadic about it, people are like, oh, okay, well, yeah, he's going live, but last time it was a Monday, so I knew that I could do it or I could schedule something around it. Well, this week he's going live on Wednesday, and then next week he doesn't even go live. So it's very important for me. It's always, and this is anything. This is not just about live streaming. This is about digital media marketing in general. If you cannot stay consistent, your brand is going to suffer because in the world of social media, it's 24/7, 365, an ocean full of noise. To be able to rise above that noise, you have to produce consistent quality content. And if you cannot do that, you are going to fall victim to the noise. The waves are going to crash over you. Your brand is going to go down. Your reach and awareness are going to suffer big time.
I gotta say, I love talking with everyone because I always love all the examples that people give. For example, you give the ocean example here in terms of social media, and it makes a lot of sense because if I'm, for example, creating a live stream, like I'm literally riding the waves, for example, each time when I'm going live. And, again, that motion is going to create bigger and bigger waves. And
Right.
the thing is, like, okay, you get the waves really high, and then all of a sudden you stop, the water's going to go back to calm.
Exactly.
And then you're going to have to figure, okay, I have this calm ocean. How do I actually build it back up? And obviously, I mean, promoting is absolutely super important because you need to make sure you're getting the word out. And I think a lot of people, by the way, I think they are afraid to promote their live streams. And I think a lot of that comes down to maybe they're scared of being ridiculed, or, again, that just being uncomfortable thing, right?
There's that aspect of it, and the one that you alluded to first was being ridiculed, and everybody thinks, oh, it looks spammy, well, I'm going to tell you what, how many times are you watching anything on television, and maybe even on Netflix? I don't do Netflix, I don't know if they run commercials or not. How many times when you're watching a movie on a television show, and how many commercials do you see for insert a restaurant here, like a commercial for TGI Fridays, or a commercial for Buffalo Wild Wings, or whatever? You're inundated with promotional things.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, every time you see it, you're like, oh no, you don't say, like, oh, it's another TGI Fridays commercial.
You watch it.
In your subconscious, in your subliminal mind, you're looking at it going, man, those fajitas look good.
Mm-hmm.
Man, those fajitas look good. And then all of a sudden the next night, hey, what do you want to do for dinner? TGI Fridays, because they're promoting themselves. You can't take this personally. There's a difference between show friends and show business.
Mm-hmm.
This is show business. Don't worry about people get ridicule you. You're going to get burned in effigy every day on social media because there's trolls. There's people that want to kick you while you're down and keep you down. You cannot allow that to affect you. This is not personal. It is 100% business.
Excellent point. Yeah. And, the fact that you're talking about a commercial, it's the same thing. Like, you're promoting your live streams. One thing you have to kind of pay attention to is, well, you kind of need to learn how to tune out all that other stuff, because here's the thing, those commercials you're seeing, they don't care that you don't like the commercial necessarily. Right. Their goal is to stay top of mind. And they're doing that because, they're, even if it's a bad commercial, you know why it works? Because they're top of mind, and people are still talking about it. So it could be a bad commercial and the person's
memorable. It's being memorable.
Even if, for example, if you have a live stream, and let's say your live stream is a quirky live stream, you're going to have for starters, like, you may start to resonate with people because they may say, hey, you know what, that actually was pretty fun.
Yep.
So you still need to, like, follow some of the rules of promoting, advertising, promoting content. You still need to follow those rules, obviously, when you're live streaming. But don't worry about, what people think about you.
No.
If you have, going back to your earlier point, good quality content and consistency, obviously.
The content sells itself. That it always has, and it always will.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of the meat of promoting your live streams. So we're sticking to the restaurant theme with the meat here.
Yeah, I like that.
What are some of the ways to promote your live streams? Let's talk about, like, before, during, and after. Let's start about before. So if I'm going to promote my live streams, what can I do beforehand?
So this is how I do it. And you could take this for, a grain of salt or whatever, but this is how I promote my live streams every week. First of all, I go ahead and I schedule my live stream so I can create the thumbnail to put up there, so I have a graphic to actually push out on social media. So first and foremost, you need to schedule your live streams beforehand, because if you don't schedule them, you can't really promote it, right? Because it's not scheduled. So what I do is I'm going to break it down by different social media platforms. So first and foremost, I schedule it to my Facebook page and my Facebook group. From my business page, I then share it to my personal profile. So that's one way that I'm promoting it beforehand. Number two is I utilize Twitter quite heavily because I have a decent sized following, and my audience knows what's going on my Twitter feed. So when I do it on Twitter, I actually tweet 5 times before I go live the day of. So just to give you an example of my live stream, I go live on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So I schedule a live at noon. I schedule a promotional tweet at noon, at 1, at 2, at 2:45, and then 3 when I actually go live. So the one at noon is saying, hey, join me today on EG Live as we discuss insert topic here with the link. At 1 o'clock, it's a very similar tweet. At 2 o'clock, it says, hey, T-1 hour, the same thing. 45 or 15 minutes before, I'm like, hey, join me in 15 minutes. And then at 3 o'clock, it's like, join me live right now, again, with the link and the promotional graphic. So that's the way I do it beforehand on social media. Also, I try to schedule it at least the day before, if not further out, because the day of, I also utilize my email list that I continually build, and I send out an email to say, the show title in there. It's got the graphic at the top. It gives a brief overview of what's going to happen in that show. It's got a watch live right now button, and it's also utilizing the thumbnail graphic that I created to promote on social media. So those are the ways that I use social media and my email list to promote my live stream before I actually even go live.
Very cool. Yeah, and there's so much that you can do beforehand to get the word out about your live streams. For example, one thing that I like to do, it by the way, I do this for all my guests. We put them on a Twitter list.
Mhm.
So, from a promotional standpoint, that's not like doing a whole lot, but it is because people can actually find those lists. For example, if
Yeah.
it's a public list, another thing you can also do, you can set up, for example, if you're into WhatsApp, you can set up a WhatsApp group. You could set up a
Messenger
Facebook,
bot.
yeah, a messenger bot, which by the way is where somebody is able to go opt in through a Facebook page, and then they can get notified when you're going live. So by the way, don't just rely on posting it to Facebook and having somebody enable notifications
Yeah.
to drive them to your live stream. Yes, that's a way to promote your live streams. But the reason we don't always recommend that is because, well, they don't always send out.
Right.
It depends on a lot of factors, whether somebody is on, for example, if they have Facebook open, if they have the Facebook mobile app open, if they have the notifications enabled, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So don't just rely on getting the word out through those notifications.
Right.
Now, another thing also, by the way, I like to do is I like to send my guests a link to promote the live stream as well. So,
Right.
Granted, we have to take into consideration, like if you're streaming to YouTube, you get a little more leeway with how far in advance you can schedule. The same with most of the other platforms.
Right.
Facebook's a little different. You get 7 days, but you do have to factor it into your 7-day plan if you're trying to drive people to that live stream. So what we like to do is we like to send our guests a graphic, for example, along with a link, whether that's a link to the Facebook live stream, the YouTube live stream,
Mhm.
And so forth. The other thing I'll also do is, I don't know about you, but I set up a custom URL
Mhm.
and a landing page as well for our live show. And then that way we can promote that as well. So people can go and watch the existing show, but then they can also watch some of the past ones that we've done.
I like it, and I do something a little bit different when I do like master classes, or like this year it'll be my 3rd annual social media day virtual summit, where it has its own web page on one of my websites, and
Mhm.
it's a good way to start to build or curate your email list to where if it's quote unquote higher level live streaming, where they actually have to put in a little bit of information before they can actually get access to watch the live stream. So
Yeah.
you can knock 2 birds out with one stone right there. It's still a free live stream. All they're doing is providing you a little bit of information to get access to it. So they're not paying anything, but the value isn't actually in if you charged them $5 or $10 to watch it. The value is getting that email. Then you have a direct line of communication to your basically direct target audience, because they thought conscious enough and valued what you're saying in your content enough to give you that information, to give you a direct communication line with them.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's before the live stream. By the way, there's a lot you have to do or you can do before your live stream. I don't say you can do or have to do. How about this? You should
do
do
it.
a number of these things. You don't have to
Yeah.
do everything, but I would recommend making a checklist
Yes.
of all of the items that you want to do, and then make sure you assess all the before activities. For example, make sure you assess which ones are and are not driving the needle, or sorry, not moving the needle. And then the other thing also, by the way, so let's move into, so that's the whole before thing, right?
Right.
So let's move into like during your live stream. Is there anything I can do during my live streams to promote
Yes.
it?
Yep. And it goes back again to consistency as well. So if you're going to be consistently live streaming, and look, it doesn't have to be weekly. It could just be once a month. It could be, bi-weekly or, twice a month, whatever. But if you are beginning to do it consistently during your live stream, you go, oh, make sure to tune in next week when we're going to be talking to Christian about, how to, make overlays for your live streams. So you can say that a few times in your live stream to promote it. It's just another call to action, right? It's just another CTA to make sure that people know, and make sure that you have, and I use something that's called an ROS, which is a run of show. So the run of show is basically an outline of your show. And the way that I have mine set up is like I have an intro, and then I say play my bumper clip, and then I go into the overview of the show, and then I have my topics. I've got my questions, and then I have CTAs that go along with those questions. CTA obviously being call to actions. So, and then at the very end, I actually say, and don't forget, next week we're going to have Ross Brand on, and we're going to be talking about the new Shure microphone. Don't forget to watch next week EG Live, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. So yes, during your show, you can actively promote your upcoming shows, and that's just good practice. I mean, it's just a good business. So if you're trying to be consistent with live streaming, to make sure, give them an incentive and make sure they know when, where, and what you're going to be talking about on your next show.
Excellent tips there. Yeah. And for example, that's all stuff you can do during the actual live stream to promote your live stream, to promote the fact that you have a show, to promote your previous episode, your future one. For example, one thing actually a couple things I like to do. I like to reference, for example, as you saw at the beginning of this one, I was referencing a past episode,
Exactly.
launcher.live/EP67. That's a past video, for example, that we've done, a past live stream. Another thing I also like to do is, for example, if you happen to have a Stream Deck, they have a couple of nice little features actually you can use. It's literally this little touchpad that you can use. And for example, I can push a button, and what it will do is it will change my Twitter name, for example. So it actually is a way to promote my live stream. It actually makes it look like the live icon.
Right.
And then I also have a button I push where it actually can send out a tweet that we're live along with a graphic, and then obviously driving them back to that particular episode. So, super easy to do. And again, that's a great way to save yourself some time as well. Again, though, it's going to go back to, if you don't do any of this, if you don't promote your live streams, you are going to probably experience very stagnant growth because,
yes,
again, I mean, it's the whole like analogy, if a tree falls in the forest, like, here's the thing. It's the same thing with your live stream. If you go live, is anybody actually going to tune in?
And I go back to one of my original points that everybody needs to understand. You get the majority of your viewers from a live stream after the live stream is even over. When it's over, that's when you're going to get more viewers, because you can sit here and you can have 40, 50, 100 live viewers, but then you go back and check a week after, and all of a sudden you've got like 5,000 views. You obviously didn't have 5,000 live viewers. Those 4,900 viewers came after the fact. So it's great, to your point, Christian, to even reference during your live streams previous ones. And like say specifically, we're talking about promoting your live streams. Oh, by the way, last week I had Ross Brand on and we were talking about creating graphics. Reference a lot of different topics there. I equate them to cards, like YouTube cards, when you're putting YouTube videos where it comes at the top. You're just like, oh, if you're interested in watching audio or learning more about audio, click the card up here. So referencing not only your upcoming events, but your previous live streams as well, is really going to help build a rapport with your audience. And because they may not even know that you went live and talked to whomever, or you were discussing a certain topic.
And that's an excellent point. Yeah, because a lot of people, again, it comes back to, you have to get comfortable promoting what it is you do, and here's the thing. It eventually becomes very easy as you grow. So for example, I'm going to use Apple as an example here. So Apple, when they first started out, like, they had to obviously pound the pavement, get a lot of people interested in their computers. And then, as they have grown over time, they don't have to do as much promotion. For example,
do hardly any.
Like, they have social media channels, but they aren't posting 24/7 on those channels.
You want to hear something incredible? I didn't even think about it until right then when you said it. So Apple on Twitter has like 20 million followers or something like that, right? You know how many times they've tweeted?
Maybe once.
Never.
Yes.
They have no tweets. Their Facebook page, their Facebook business page, they never post any content. If you go on there right now and just scroll through years and years, all they ever do is update their cover image.
Yep.
That's all they ever do.
and here's the thing. It's not to say there isn't value in doing that. It just is there. It's their, they've gotten to the point where they don't need to promote their events, for example. They don't need to promote, for example, today, they were recording this. They had WWDC, which is their Worldwide Developers Conference.
Yep.
And they don't have to actually share anything about that. They put it out there. They do the event. They focus on the event, and then they want, for example, they get bloggers and YouTubers and things like that to actually help them do the promotion of
They
that.
know their brand pundits are going to talk about them on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube for weeks to come. They really don't need to do any more promoting whatsoever
Right.
of anything.
Exactly. However, so if you're starting out and you're small, for example,
Yeah.
to promote your
Yeah,
live
don't go
streams,
that route.
you're gonna have to do some of that heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to build a snowball, for example. You got to start with that small amount of snow, and then you got to how do you get a big, nicely formed snowball? You don't just like slap snow, for example, on the snowball. You
Right.
have to constantly you want to tighten up that middle, the
Yep.
core, and then you want to add and tighten up and add and keep tightening up. You don't want to just add, because then it's going to fall apart.
Right.
So
And don't get discouraged in the beginning. Listen, you may look at your favorite live streamers and go, wow, look at like Owen Video. He's got
Right.
like 300 live viewers.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? He didn't just start last week.
Right.
He's been doing it for 8 or 9 years at this point. So
Mhm.
overnight success takes a decade. So just remember that.
That's actually a really good quote, actually. And the other thing with that is, part of it also is you have to do the promotion. So, for example, if somebody gets 300 people tuning in to their lives, they're also emailing their email lists. They're building an email list to start with. They're
Yes.
building a YouTube community for a Facebook community. They're doing all these other things in addition to then, going live. So,
Exactly.
you got to start somewhere. And I love that point, by the way, that overnight success takes a decade. I
It
love
does.
that, actually. That's excellent point. Okay, so we talked about before, we talked about during. What do I do? Like after my live stream, am I done, or do I need to promote it again?
It's not about, yes, you're going to promote it. And it's very similar to what you do kind of before. It's just a little bit different. So you can still tweet out and go, hey, if you're interested in learning more about graphic design for live streams, check out, my last live stream. And I'm talking to Christian about graphics. Or, you can download your live streams if you're just going directly on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, but utilizing a tool like Christian and myself use, like StreamYard, you're able to download those episodes and then you can cut them up, right? So you can take an excerpt out of one thing. Say you just wanted to promote how to promote your live streams before your live streams. So you can take that little 3 to 5 minute clip and upload it to Twitter and go, hey, we talked about this. If you want to see more, go check out my entire live stream with Christian, easy enough for me to say, and, provide them the link. So it's very similar to what you do before the live stream in aspects of promoting it. It's just a little bit different on the copy and perhaps how you actually generate a little bit of the content. Like I said, downloading the episode or downloading your past live streams and maybe sectioning them up. And then you could even download the entire thing and upload it to YouTube and upload it to, wherever else you're going to be hosting your videos at. So it's a very similar process of it. Promotion after the fact that is before. It's just slight tweaks and actually how you're creating the content.
Excellent. More excellent points, actually. Yeah. And then I like how you kind of bring it full circle there. It's about doing the same stuff you sort of do at the beginning, but basically just telling people, hey, we wrapped this episode. Here's what it's about. You got to remember also, by the way, the first time somebody's going to get your email, let's say you're emailing it to them, they may open it. They may not actually click on anything.
Mm-hmm.
There then may be a social media prompt that they see. They may actually click on it. Okay, they may not actually watch it, but they at least click through. And then maybe the third, fourth, fifth time they've seen it, whether it's across, all your different social channels on YouTube, it's recommended to them. Then maybe they get it through an email from you another time, like just reminding them. They may actually be ready to click on that at that point. So it's not like one touch point's going to actually, get somebody to click on it and watch.
Exactly.
It's going to take some time. So
I read something once in marketing, and it has nothing
Yeah.
to do with digital marketing. It's just marketing in general, that
Yeah.
it takes people upwards of 10 touches before they actually make any kind of purchasing decision. And when I say purchasing decision, I don't mean that you're trying to sell them something, but that decision to watch their video, it may take them 7, 8, up to 10 times of seeing it before they actually click on something and watch your live stream. So, just be cognizant of that as well.
Definitely. Yeah. And of course, I mean, obviously you want to get people to watch it, but it is going to take some work. And
Yeah.
that's where promoting your live streams is going to help. It's going to help you. For example, if you only go live once a month and all you're doing is going live and you're not doing anything to promote it,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to, you're thinking, oh, it's just one thing. No, it actually needs to be like a lot
Yeah.
more steps. So
Yeah.
promoting my live stream, okay, then they see it here, 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 here. Guess what that's doing? It's getting you faster to your goal versus I'm taking one hop from here to here. That's
Exactly.
often not going to happen. So you're going to have to take a lot of little smaller hops along the way. And then eventually that's actually going to get shorter to where you do something and it's going to be, okay, a couple more hops. And then like it might be 5 steps, for example, or three
Right.
steps. That's that whole Apple model that we're talking about.
Exactly.
How at
Yeah.
some point it's going to potentially get to that point where, you're going to easily get people to promote it without you actually having to do a whole lot.
The
Okay.
the
Yeah.
best promotion is promotion from others.
Exactly. Well, and that's a great point, by the way. So after a live stream, a couple of things I like to do. I like to make sure that every guest that we have on, we send them I do a show called Social Chatter, and we send them a
Mhm.
link to the blog post as well as the YouTube video, and we ask them, can they help socialize it?
Yep.
So we give them the information. They know exactly what's there. They know what they're getting. They've already been on the show, and then we try to leverage their audience as well. And you should be trying to do that too. And of course, I mean, it also, here's how you take some bigger jumps with promoting your content. If you have people on that have a nice big following,
Mhm.
that's going to help you take a much bigger jump because, if I have somebody on and they have no social presence, but I'm like just trying to fill a guest spot, then, I chances are I'm not going to get a whole lot of views off that because the person's not actually really helping drive anything. And
I
yeah,
see it all the time because I do something very similar to you where I give them the graphic that I use to
yeah,
promote the show beforehand and give them the link. And I
mhm,
actually saw it on Thursday or Friday of last week. And somebody that I had on 5 months ago
yeah,
was still tweeting about, hey, if you watch this episode, I was on EG Live talking about don't post and ghost. And then I'll go over there and I'll go back to that initial live stream and I'll look, and all of a sudden the views shot up by like 1,000
yeah,
because this person ended up having, like over 1 million people following them on Twitter. So
right. Mhm.
if the best marketing you can get is word of mouth marketing from your direct target audience.
Definitely. Yeah. And again, I mean, also be selective about who you have on as a guest. Don't
Yes.
just have somebody on your live stream who's going to join your live stream and they're not going to help you with the promotion of it. They're not going to help you with, promoting it beforehand, during, and after the live. If all they're coming on to do is to pitch something in front of your audience,
Yeah.
you're not going to be the winner there. They're going to be the winner.
And
So,
don't think for a second that people aren't out there doing that.
no, definitely. Okay. So we talked about obviously some ways to promote your live streams before, during, and after the live. One other question we have for you is: there any tools that can help live streamers promote their broadcast or be more efficient at promoting their broadcast?
I am a big proponent of scheduling content to go out because
Okay.
there's tools out there like Agora Pulse,
Mhm.
Hootsuite, which I both use,
Yeah.
or I use both. I shouldn't say I both use, but I use both, and that gives you the ability to go ahead and create these graphics that you're going to be using to promote it. You've scheduled your live stream, so you have that direct link to the live stream. Then you can go into something like Agora Pulse and go, okay, I want to send out these 5 tweets. I'm going to put one at 12. I'm going to do one at 1, 2, however you're going to do it. So it gives you the ability to schedule them and just kind of forget about it. So you don't have to worry about, oh crap, did I forget? I didn't send out that tweet at 3 that I needed to. If you go ahead and schedule them beforehand, it gives you more time to actually concentrate on making sure all your equipment's working right. Is your microphone sounding good? Is the camera in the right settings? So there's a lot that goes into live streaming, the production itself. So the more that you can automate the promotion beforehand, it's going to allow you to focus on just presenting the best product to your viewers.
Excellent point. Yeah, and so for example, you like Agora Pulse and Hootsuite. I also I'm a big Agora Pulse user. I used to use Hootsuite, for example. Another tool also that can really help you with the promotion about chopping it up. For example, I talked about it a minute ago. Episode 67, we talked with Kate Bradley Chernus from Lately. You can check
Mhm.
out Lately as well. That is a great tool for repurposing your live stream. So it's taking that full live stream content. And what it essentially does is it chops up the content into multiple pieces automatically for you. And then you actually now have, like, for example, you could put a video and it could give you 25 pieces of content that you can use to promote your live stream. That's at launcher.live/. EP67. Sorry, I think I got the right number, right? 67. Yeah. So yeah, those are some great tools. Are there any other ones that you can think of that we should really, talk about or suggest?
To me, it's just obviously StreamYard again because we both use it. But one thing that I do like about StreamYard is if you are doing a podcast, StreamYard has the ability to not only download the actual live stream, but you can just download just the audio. So it's very easily to repurpose your live streaming into an audio only podcast or an audiogram. You could take a particular question or a particular quote or a particular statement from your live stream, turn that into a graphical audiogram because you were able to download just the audio only from StreamYard.
Definitely. Yeah. Excellent points here. Yeah. And, that's another thing. I mean, like for those of you who want to get into like promoting your live streams, I mean, again, these are little shortcuts. So for example, for the Agora Pulse side, one thing I like to do is I like to use their queue feature. Have you ever used that one, Eddie?
Yes, sir.
Where like, basically it's this cool feature where you set up these buckets of content and you set up a schedule for each bucket. And you say, for example, for this one, go publish at 9:00 in the morning. This next one, hey, let's publish that one at 11. Let's publish this third bucket at like 3:00. And then you can say, you know what, let's publish this one again at another time and another and another. And it's constantly just picking new content.
Exactly.
Helping you stay top of mind. So this is just some excellent information.
It is a
By
must.
the way, we'll put links to all of these tools in the description of this video, the Agora Pulse and the Lakeleys that we've been mentioning. Okay, so Eddie, so one last question for you. Where can people connect with you?
I honestly, I'm not everywhere on social media because I don't believe that's just behooping for me.
That's an excellent point.
So you just facebook.com/social Eddie, twitter.com/Eddie Garrison, youtube.com/Eddie Garrison.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I mean, the key thing is, like, again, you don't have to be everywhere on your social media channels. So you don't have to, and we should clarify this, like, you don't have to be everywhere, meaning you don't have to be active on all those social media channels. You can have the name and you can be holding that name, but you should focus on, for example, if you're building your own presence, start at one or two places and then build from there. As you get to a certain point, then maybe you add in another social media channel to help you develop more of a presence. In terms of promoting your live streams, though, you will want to make sure that you have a presence that you are. What I mean by that is, like, you should have content you're creating for those social media channels, for example, and for the most part, the graphics are almost the same size.
Yeah.
But, for example, if you're going to have a guest on, make sure you give them as many pieces of content as you can to help get the word out. And again, make sure you are actually promoting your live streams. So, Eddie, I want to thank you for being a guest. I mean, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love it. I enjoy it anytime.
How to promote your live streams. For those of you watching, this will be also dropping as a podcast on your favorite podcasting platforms, on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and much more. But I want to thank everybody for watching, which is essentially episode 68 of the Launch Your Live podcast, where we discussed promoting your live streams with guest Eddie Garrison. Remember, if you need help with your live streaming, you can always contact us for a consultation by messaging us all of our social media channels at Launch Your Live. And for more information about this episode, just go to launcher.live/EP68. We will see you all on a future episode. Thanks a lot for watching and for listening.